Yeah.
Ginny, did you have a question?
Just Jennifer, this is Jenny, just a question. Did the police tell you that they were going to follow up with coming back and putting the car there again?
So they did. They wrote in their email that they would have, they would increase the presence. They would have patrols give some added attention to the area. So that's all I really heard about it.
Jennifer, I'm so sorry to hear about your husband. Did he file a police report for that?
He didn't, because he was more in shock of the situation. He didn't get I mean, he was holding our dog. It's pretty impossible to manage. He didn't sustain any kind of damage, and he was walking, with a neighbor who, she was the one who brought it up, and he kind of didn't. He was more in shock of the situation. But I was planning to respond to that police officer and just mention that was also, yet another issue with the speeding around here. I mean, I get nervous just driving myself. We follow the speed limit and we see people walking in the street all the time. It's, a quiet area, but even seeing now people, walking in the street, crossing the street. I mean, this isn't kind of an area where we have a stop sign at every single street in the development. So I just get nervous anytime I see anyone walking around.
Scott Leader, who's on our commission, went out there to check things out. So why don't we go to Scott and
yes, hello. Yeah, I went out last Friday, and I sat on Bluestone for about an hour. I measured 50 cars, and with a radar gun, and I found that the maximum speed I saw was 39, and the average speed was about 29. Now this was between 3 and 4. It wasn't 5 to 7, but I was able to see 50 cars within about 1 car a minute, and I didn't see any of them going in the 40s or close to 50. Now, I don't know if that was a different time of day, and that's why, but there was a lot of cars through there. But nothing, so I'm wondering if what you're seeing is if you're overestimating the speed that they're really going, because it's really hard to judge by looking at them how fast they're going.
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible. I don't have a radar. I can just, knowing how slow to me 25 feels, I can only kind of judge by driving that speed limit and, looking outside of my car at what I'm passing and what speed, and seeing, other cars going much farther than that. But of course, I mean, yeah, that's very possible.
And it's a very wide street, so that makes it easier for people to feel that they can go faster. But there are sidewalks on both sides, which is good. Where do you see most of the speeding going on there? What part of it?
Yeah, like closer to, like, we're on Fieldstone, so we're 2 streets. It's Fieldstone, then Marble, and then the actual traffic light. So we see it at that bend. Right. I mean, it's when you're coming off of Oakview, you turn right on Bluestone, and that's really at that point is where the speed accelerates. I
was toward your direction, you on Bluestone where I parked to do it. I didn't count cars that had just turned onto the road from side streets. So I thought I think it was pretty accurate. Yeah, true. The average is definitely not 25, but I think that would be rare to see cars actually going 25 in a 25. That's,
yeah, of course.
You hardly see that. Even the people who live there probably don't do that.
Does anyone think, let me ask you first, Jennifer. Did the police put up one of those, your speed is signs?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
I don't think
Could you repeat that?
Jenny was asking if they put up one of those boxes that shows what your speed is.
Yeah, they had it for about a week. We noticed it was actually on Bluestone right at the intersection with Oakview. So they had it there. It was, I would say, a week max, and then it just disappeared. And that was I would say over last summer. That was not recent.
That was last year. Yeah, right at
Mhm.
the intersection probably wouldn't be the best place for it because that's where
Right.
they're all turning, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You think it's more like between 5 and 7 or
Oh yeah. Mhm. Because I think that's the commute. That's our main commuting time. That and the weekends, like if any sunny day, in the afternoon, it's pretty steady throughout the weekend. We get a lot of traffic, but that 5 to 7 commute. I mean, we live it now. Even if we're working from home, we see our neighbors all walking at the same time, and whoever is working is driving home really at that time too. So seems like it picks up a lot there. Because like today, for example, I walked at 3 o'clock and I maybe saw like 10 cars go by. It wasn't, any major speeds or anything like that. But between 5 and 7, it's game changer.
When the speed box was there, did you notice any improvement? And the second part of that question is, do you think there's any value in bringing it back, but putting it in a different location?
I didn't really notice the issue as much back when the camera or the whatever that's called speed camera was posted there, because we didn't really notice so much foot traffic in the area at the time. I'm not sure if it would make a difference. Maybe the location would, if it was farther down Bluestone. I just heard. I completely agree that location wasn't right. It could make a difference. I mean, I don't know. I think someone said in emails, I don't think that, stop signs, people would just be speeding through, gassing on it to get from stop sign to stop sign. I'm not sure if that would make a difference or speed bumps would make a difference. I'm not sure.
Well, we can't, the PennDOT regulations don't allow for using stop signs as traffic calming for precisely the reason that you just gave, that people tend to speed up after they go through the stop sign. Speed bumps and that sort of thing are basically traffic calming measures. And the township does have a procedure for requesting those types of measures. That's, I don't know if you've seen on the website, if you're familiar with them, the traffic calming guidelines. It's something to consider, but it's something that you would need to get together with your neighbors, and there's a whole process in terms of a petition, this, that, and the other, to recommend specific, kind of physical things like speed tables or chicanes or whatever to slow the traffic down. We've run into, I got to tell you, in terms of a wide street, it's very difficult. The wider the traffic perceives the street, the more difficult it is to slow the traffic. And I understand you don't have a center yellow line. That makes it even, wider. The problem with getting a yellow center line is that we ran into this on roll-offs because there's a lot of speeding on roll-offs. And when they put the yellow center line in, residents find out that maybe they can't park on both sides of the street because of regulations. So that wasn't, at least in that instance, that was not a very popular option. I don't know, Sue, would you like to elaborate a little bit on the guidelines?
Well, I would just say that if you feel your neighbors share your concern, it's very much worth your while to go to our website and look at the guidelines and begin to talk with your neighbors. If nothing else, during the process, maybe the neighbors can become more vigilant about their speeds. A lot of times we find it is the people in the neighborhoods who are speeding as well as other cut-through traffic. I think it would be worth it to go to the guidelines and begin the conversation and see where it leads you and see how much of a commitment there is amongst your neighbors and interest in exploring traffic calming.
Okay, great.
In the meantime, though, if you could, or maybe Scott could, I don't know, be very precise with where you think putting a speed trailer would be, you know, the exact location. And maybe we could make that request of the police that they do that again.
Probably, I would think between the traffic light at Big Oak and Oakview, somewhere in the middle where there's a long open spot rather than close to the corner. I could also go out and try to do a little bit more surveillance at, you know, at 5 o'clock or so at some point. I could do that again.
That would be great, Scott.
Great.
And Ginny must have AOL dial-up or something.
Does anyone else have anything, any other suggestions or?
No, I don't.
So Jennifer, you know, as Sue said, I encourage you to check out the guidelines, talk with your neighbors. It occurred to me when you said people are walking in the street. Not a great idea. I know it's a wide street like that, to be walking in the street or playing in the street is obviously problematic during rush hour. But I realize the dynamic right now is different than hopefully when this whole, whatever this is, mess is over.
Right.
The dynamic would change. But in the meantime, if you could check out those guidelines, talk to your neighbors. I'm sure you're not the only one that's noticed this. And in the meantime, we'll get a specific location. I'll double check with the police about putting you on the regular schedule and also the timing so they know it's between 5 and 7. And we'll see if we can get a speed trailer out there in a better location. And maybe that would have some effect. But beyond that, it's hard for me right now to think of something else to do, Suzanne. I mean,
No, I think that's about everything.
Yeah, that's great. I'll take a look at that and talk to my neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Is there somebody else, did you say, in public comment?
I thought there was, but it was actually Bill, and I got him in.
Oh,
Okay.
Bill's there, yeah. Hi, Bill.
Yeah.
Guys, just so that you know, like it is on Facebook. So depending on which person is talking or however Facebook works, you may or may not be being seen. So
This is on Facebook?
yeah.
Yes, and you.
Yippee.
So I can argue with people right here and I don't even have to do it while on Facebook.
There, Scott.
Jean Bray is with us. I know that the thing says James Bray, but Jean was going to try to. Are you there, Jean?
Yep.
You're too far down.
You look like a ceiling fan.
That's all we can see is a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
What?
I
You'll be all right, Gene. When you grow up, you'll be a little bit bigger. Don't worry about it.
wait a minute. There's something log in. Huh?
Well, you got an attractive ceiling fan,
Yeah,
that's for
see
sure.
me?
Yeah.
No, your camera is posted at the ceiling fan. If you tilt your camera, it might change.
So can you tilt it?
Like
There
that
you
way?
go. There
Oh,
you go.
there
There you
you
go.
are.
There you are. There you are.
Yes.
All right.
Put it back up.
Oh, shush. You shush. All right. But I've got a login thing there in the
You're
way.
in, you're good.
Great.
Okay.
If we see you, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can't see. Well, all right. Never mind.
Don't see us?
I can see up there, but it says, hi, please log in. This is a Nielsen thing.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
We're Nielsen. We're a Nielsen family. All right, let me get out of there. All right, I don't know how to do this. Jim, this is Jim's computer.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry, we don't need.
Yeah. See that?
Oh, look, we have a special guest.
Okay, here we go.
Whoop. Oh, there we
All right.
are. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, dear.
All right.
Now, okay.
Right. Should we go on to the agenda, I guess, or?
Yes, do you have that in front of you? Because I don't.
Because my coffee's getting low here. I'm not gonna have enough. Look at that.
What do I have next on the agenda?
What was the next?
Media, social media.
Yeah.
The good
I'd like to go first. Scott, would you like to go first?
Nobody's complaining about traffic right now. Nobody. No traffic.
Except for Jennifer.
Well, started a while back, so yes. So nobody else seems to be complaining on Facebook or anything about it that I've noticed. I don't know if anyone else has seen anything.
You know, I just sent out the first quarter accident reports, and it's amazing. You know, it's like the accidents went down 70% between.
No one's driving.
And I looked at the intersection of Langhorne, Langhorne Yardley Road and Edgewood Mirror Lake. No accidents for the 4 months.
Yeah, and that's rare. Is there usually something there?
Yeah, yeah. Because we did have a complaint. We did have one of those forms that was filled out for that intersection.
Yeah, we had one.
Yes, and we're still getting criticized on Facebook about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we are keeping an eye on, the accident reports for that intersection.
My feeling about that, and again, I don't know how you feel, Suzanne, but I would like at some point, I'm not saying this is a priority, but at some point it would be nice to have our traffic engineer look at the way that intersection is set up, because there is something off about it. Can we all agree it's a weird intersection?
Yeah, it's an offset intersection.
Yeah,
so
it's laid out wrong.
it doesn't line up.
Right. And the idea of having 2 right turn lanes is problematic too.
Which one is it? Which intersection is that one? That's are you thinking about Big Oak, Bill?
Big Oak and
Yeah.
Well, we're thinking about
We're talking about Yardley Langhorne.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yardley Langhorne and Mirror Lake.
One is,
Oh, all right. Well, that's off center too. That's they're both off center.
Yeah.
I can see her point, because I'm making that left, going past CVS, making from Edgewood Village, making a left onto Mirror Lake quite frequently. And you do have to pay attention. Of course, you're supposed to pay attention when you're driving. That usually is, the idea. But it can be, if you're a little bit distracted, you really have to watch and see if there's a car that is in the line for the left turn and then kind of ducks out and is coming toward you. So I can see where accidents can happen, but obviously it's not a big accident area. And maybe because it's a big offset intersection, maybe people are safer. I don't know.
I think also that people think that right turn on red is just an automatic right turn. They don't really stop and look and see if there's any other cars coming. They just think that I can just make this right turn anytime.
Yeah, I see that all the time. In fact, Bill teaches that because my son tries to do that and I have to stop him.
What? Bill says he can turn right at any time?
That's Bill's doing.
Uh-oh.
Scott or Catherine, do you have anything more on what you are tracking?
No. I was curious to see if anything was reported these 4 months, and I was surprised that there was nothing, but then, no one's really out these days. I mean, I do still go through that intersection once a week or every other week.
Keller, do you have anything for us?
No, I mean, I have to admit I've been lax on going through that, but I was watching the Board of Supervisor meetings, and I don't think I've heard much, Sue, on traffic. I'm not sure I can articulate clearly the status with the traffic circles at Sandy Run. That may be the only thing I did hear discussed, but I don't remember what the status was.
What's the status of that?
Oh,
The roundabouts.
The roundabouts.
Yeah, so we are getting them designed,
Oh,
and then we're gonna decide, once we see what that looks like, if we just still feel it's best to move forward. So that's where we are right now. We're getting the actual
oh.
plans, I guess is the right word.
yeah, I mean, we had plans, but I guess we need to do plans.
They were temporary plans.
We had ideas. We had ideas, and now we're actually making sure that all those ideas make sense, right? That
You
they're.
need engineering plans.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah. But at some point, do we lose the window to get it done this year?
No, we're still within it. I mean,
Well, at some point, we won't be.
yeah, I mean, did COVID slow it down? Maybe 2 weeks? Not really, but we still think we could do it. But that, I guess what I'd like to say is we are very closely monitoring the impact of COVID on the township finances. And while I hope this doesn't impact, meaning, as we see decreasing revenues from different things, I hope this project still stays on the table, but it's a possibility that it wouldn't.
So is the pool a net cost, a neutral, or an income?
It's essentially a neutral.
So not opening the pool, there's probably still cost though, right? Or no?
There's no savings by not opening the pool.
Okay.
That was a big mistake, by the way.
Thank you, Scott. That's a different committee. They just met.
I know.
I can only tell you, Scott, is I'm the person who has to sign all the refund checks.
Yeah, you probably didn't like doing that.
Well, I was surprised how many people wanted their money, had indicated they would no longer feel comfortable. And that was part of the decision, right? Like, if I don't know the exact number, so don't quote this, but you need, let's say, 400 families for it to stay neutral.
If by July, they would have felt comfortable.
So Suzanne, are you saying that's not a loss for the township by not having the pool open, income or revenue wise?
I believe it's a neutral.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't have thought that. So that's good, I guess.
Well, I think it's better to be safe.
Yeah. All I know,
We know so little.
if it was a private pool, they would not have done that.
Says the man who is not a pool member. I just want everyone to remember.
We are a pool member.
You are not.
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yeah, we're a pool member. I want to say personally was not there once last year, but my whole family are pool members.
Okay.
But I don't have any other Board of Supervisor updates, so you can go to the next agenda item.
And I actually haven't been paying attention to planning and zoning. I think I did in the beginning, but since we shut down, or since I've been working from home, I haven't really paid attention to it. Have the committees been meeting?
I think they just had their first round like recently.
Okay.
So.
All right, I'll check out the website and see what's happening.
Zoning definitely met.
Okay.
And planning is meeting tomorrow, I think, right?
Okay.
I think all the dates are all confused now, so it's hard for me to keep it straight.
Okay.
So how does Catherine do that?
Yeah. How do I get into the chat room?
lmt.org. I think there are all the links.
Okay.
Yeah. And either the Twitter account or Facebook, if you're on it, they actually push out a lot of good information. I know that.
Okay.
So if you sign up for the email alerts.
I saw that they had approval for the Marazzo's project over there. 11.
I think the last time they met, they had recommended approval. There were a lot of comments that they had to address, but they.
Yeah, I just
addressed that.
Is that right at that intersection, that crazy sort of intersection there at Suffin? Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
That Marazzo's, yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
And they'll close, there's 2 entrances right now.
mhm.
They're gonna close the first one and you'll only be able to enter or exit on the second one.
Oh,
So it'll be a
Okay.
little setback.
is there, yeah, I mean, is there enough room past that intersection that it doesn't matter? I don't know.
That should be, I don't think that'll be that much of an issue.
No, I don't know. I just know it's Fred Weiss lives right over there, and he takes his life in his hands getting out of his
House is for
driveway.
sale though.
House is sold.
Oh, good. He's lucky he got it sold before they started construction. I was worried about him.
Hmm.
The only other Board of Supervisors things I noticed, I think it's on this week's meeting, is it talks about Oxford Valley Road and Edgewood. And that's really about this walking path. So at any rate, late this afternoon or this morning, Jim Majewski sent me the plans. I'm not sure, I guess they're the plans that are going to be presented, Suzanne, on Wednesday for this walking path.
I certainly don't know what Jim Majewski sent you, and I'm sorry that I'm not all the way through all the materials yet. So I think there was something about signalization there.
You know, frankly, I was looking, he sent me this thing and it's like 23 pages, and I was trying to decipher it on my smartphone, which is impossible. So at any rate, I will be sending that out to everybody and we'll see what it is. But it is like, it's a lot of diagrams, but it's basically, you know, the plan is to do, so you can walk all the way from Mill Road along Edgewood up to Oxford Valley, then all the way around Oxford Valley to, I guess, Mill Road again, and then come back up Mill. So you could, if you wanted to, walk in a complete circle. 6 feet apart from everyone, of course, wearing masks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is there any other development issue that anyone wants to bring up? I think things have been pretty slow on that score. Am I right?
I don't know.
I
I haven't been down Oxford Valley over where they're building the new townhomes. I don't know how to describe where it is. By Regency, but
Yardley Woods.
closer. What's it called? Darby?
Yardley Woods.
No,
Oh, the new
Dobry.
Dobry Road. Yeah, Dobry Road.
Dobry Road. I haven't been by there.
Oh.
But those are going up.
I haven't been by there at all.
Have you noticed any improvements to Dobry? Because the whole thing's supposed to be reconstructed, right?
I haven't been by there.
I don't think the townhomes are going up yet, Kelly. You think they are? I think you.
No, I haven't. I said I haven't been by, but that's the other construction project I could think of that was.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the assisted living facility on the other side is moving along. I don't know, Ginny. I haven't been over there to look at whether or not the Dorbury Road improvements have happened yet.
Yeah, I'll try to. Of course, I don't go out much these days.
I want to
Don't
read
go
the
that
numbers
far.
on assisted living.
I don't go that far. I only go to the supermarket and back. That's it.
The assisted living looked like it was coming along pretty far, but I don't know about the other. But I'd like us to keep an eye on that Dobry Road because it is supposed to be, you know, completely reconstructed, but I don't think there's going to be a light there. But it's going to be, what's it going to be, right in, right out? I'm not sure. I can't remember now if it's right in, right out or.
Dorbury there's no light, but there's a second entrance into the assisted living facility that's right in, right out, a little bit past Dorbury.
Okay, I think is the next, did I put them, I don't know if I put the February minutes on there. I sent
No,
the
February
February minutes
on there.
out
We only have other
a long
development
time ago.
issues and stuff.
I'm sorry, Scott, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, there's the February minutes. It's not on the agenda anyway. Not on the agenda.
I figured nobody would remember, so I will resend all the February minutes. And if you could just, each one of you, after you read them, just send me a quick email saying you approve or you, if you have any changes, and then I can send it in. Because right now, the only minutes on the website are for January.
I approve them already, except for the changes that Sue will have. I'm good.
I thought we approved them by email, but I guess we
Than
didn't.
I do. So,
Did we approve them by email?
I thought we did, but it's been so long. Do not quote me on that.
they might have been there. I don't remember.
I don't think approving by email is really a thing.
You don't
No.
think approval by email is a thing?
No,
Could be.
even that's not even a COVID thing.
If we do it, it's a thing.
By Zoom thing?
Oh boy.
Hmm.
Is there anything else on the agenda besides the other business?
No, I don't have anything certainly.
No.
Do you think, how do you feel about, there's not a lot going on right now. Do you think I should sign us up for a June Zoom meeting? Or do we know, well, do we know if the township building is going to be open by June 15th?
I don't think we know, but it's certainly not open by June 6th. So,
I mean, I think we should keep to our schedule. If the meetings are short, they're short. But you know,
Yeah, we can do this again. This is
we could schedule it as a
Right now-
regular meeting and
Right
switch it
now,
to
I
Zoom.
think the same time slot is available on the third Monday at 8 o'clock. Somebody has it at 6 o'clock, but I think.
Well, they were already on our calendars, right?
Yeah, we can do it at 8. We could do it at 8, and if for some reason people are meeting in person by then, we could always change it to in person at our usual
Yeah.
time.
So you're saying June 15th at 8? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. That's the third Monday, isn't it?
Yes.
It was already on the calendar, but it's 8 instead of 7:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave us 8, you know, so.
For some reason, I had 7:30.
All right.
Okay.
so Ginny, I'm just looking at the minutes of the agenda for Wednesday. And there are 2 resolutions authorizing execution of application for traffic signal approval for a new flashing beacon at Oxford Valley and Roloffs. And then authorizing execution of an application for modification of existing traffic signal at Edgewood Road and Oxford Valley Road.
What's at Oxford Valley and Roll-Offs? What are they
Oxford-
Across from the
They
softball
want to
field,
put a flashing beacon.
for?
like above the road.
For
like
what
a-
reason? Like, I don't know.
There's
I
a
read
lot of
the
speeding.
agenda. Ginny's got the materials. She's going to circulate them.
Okay. Oh, that's the one.
I don't know if I have the materials. Like I
The
said,
walk
what
for
Jim
the
sent me
walking
looked
thing.
like a walking path.
Yeah, the walking path. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll look at that.
When I saw that on the agenda, that was the first I heard of it, the flashing lights.
I'll email Jim and ask him if there's anything that he can circulate to you, Ginny, so that we can get it out.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I was trying to imagine, is Roloffs right across the street from the Fred Allen complex?
You're from the
Fred Allen-
softball field there, yeah,
Right.
Right.
where it is, yeah.
I don't have any problem with that. I don't know what the modifications are at Oxford Valley and Edgewood. Other than walking path.
Oxford Valley and Edgewood, you're talking, there's 2 Oxford Valley and Edgewoods, right? There's the traffic light, and then there's right next to the school where it comes out back into Edgewood, because
I don't think
Oxford
that's
Valley
what my name is.
jogs.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Oxford Valley and Edgewood where there's not a traffic signal. Is that what?
I think
I
it's
thought it was where there was a traffic.
Gonna have to clarify.
So
Well,
what's the flat? They wouldn't be putting a flashing light where there's already a traffic signal, would they?
no, this is at Roll-Offs.
And roll-offs.
Oh, but
Or
okay, there's
across-
not another flashing light.
Across from the fields there, the
Okay, I
athletic
know
field.
where that is, yeah.
Oxford and Roloffs is a flashing light. The other thing is modification of the existing traffic signal at Edgewood and Oxford Valley.
Okay, so that's that, yeah, with the light, modification.
Maybe that's to get a pedestrian crossing thing, maybe. I don't know. Something like
Crosswalk signal.
I'll send the email to Jim and hopefully we can get some more information.
Yeah.
And I will send them.
Yeah, there's no turn on red when you come up Oxford Valley toward Edgewood, and you at that light, you cannot turn right on red there. People do, but you're not supposed to.
You're not allowed to there.
They're changing that, but
We get a lot of complaints about that. People don't understand why it's a no right turn on red. It has something to do with the engineering, with the sight distance. There's a curve as you come up the hill. I don't know.
I don't
It
actually
was explained
understand.
to us years ago.
Considering it used to be a stop sign and people would do that all the time, I don't understand either way. It's not
Yeah.
on red, but that's
Yeah, there really isn't a good, and I don't think there's a good reason to not have a right on red there. It may have something to do with the idea of the park being there and the kids, which is, I guess, could be relevant, but it's not I don't think there's personally, I don't think there's a big sightline issue there. I think that's overblown significantly in that case, but
the light is fairly short. So
and it is also Edgewood at that point is also a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. So it's not like cars are going should be going very fast there either. So
For some reason, Bill, you just reminded me of what I wanted to ask Suzanne, and that is, I see the overlay district is on the agenda. Do you know on the board of supervisors agenda? The way we call it the Wegmans thing, but you know what I mean.
I know what the overlay district is. I'm just going through the agenda. As I said, I'm behind in my materials. I don't think it's on the agenda, Ginny. You think it is?
I do, but whether it is or it isn't, I thought that's what I wanted to ask you the question. My only question is, have we gotten anything on traffic from them? It's been a long time since we talked about this.
So I can follow up on that. There was discussion at the last supervisors meeting about, the overlay district. If the overlay district gets approved, it's approved, right? And the reason I say it that way is that there was somebody who was upset because for the first time Wegmans was mentioned, and they were like, well, why haven't you said it's an overlay district for Wegmans? And in my way of thinking, I don't say that because if Wegmans doesn't come, we still have the overlay district. We have to think about the overlay district as if we think that's a good use, a good decision for the township, regardless of whether or not Wegmans is a tenant. Having said that, the developer has said that they have I'm going to say the word agreement, a written agreement with Wegmans, and that there have been conversations with Wegmans that Wegmans wants to ensure that it's not just the minimum amount of traffic improvement, but a more holistic view of the area. Because as I've come to learn, and you guys probably all knew this already, PennDOT doesn't really require a lot. Even when it's going to, like, so if that parcel becomes warehouses, those two parcels, I should say, PennDOT won't require anything because that's within zoning. If it becomes something more that involves people, residents, not commercial people, then Wegmans, then PennDOT will require more improvements, but not so dramatically more improvements. But Wegmans has let it be known that they're interested in making sure that there are broader improvements, because without them, then they don't see how they can be successful there. And they are willing to pay for those broader improvements. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to get sky decks and, everything that we would want. But, that is the message that we're looking forward to hearing the details of.
well, we ought to make sure that that all that information that you're throwing out there gets out to the general citizenry, especially in light of all the people who are so much against this, without all the proper knowledge, that might be interesting for everybody to know that Wegmans is looking at this from that perspective. I think that would be
It's been out there, but
helpful to
it's
their cause.
that's a Wegmans communication. I don't think it's not a Board of Supervisors communication yet, but on the agenda, it does say, I'm just looking at it.
Which items, which item, Keller?
On the agenda for this Wednesday, it says, consider to schedule a special meeting on May 27th about the overlay. That's what it says. And, you know, back to what we've talked about before, the process, Sue, correct me if I'm wrong, the process is the ordinance it was or is being rewritten. So the actual document's rewritten. There's a Yardley, not a Yardley, there's an LMT public meeting. And then at some point, either after that meeting or there could be a couple cycles, it gets launched for a review by the neighboring towns and other people. It's like a 45-day review for Newtown, other people to comment on it or something. Could possibly get rewritten again if the comments are heavy enough and go into another 45-day cycle. So I think there's going to be a lot of time for public comment. And that's the one thing that the other supervisors have said pretty clearly is there's going to be a lot of space for comment. And then only after all that goes through, and if the overlay got approved, then this Prickett group with Wegmans would have to then submit an actual proposal, and then that would go through a process. So like, to me, it's a pretty long process, right? Nothing's getting built anytime soon.
So
And I think they have to do another traffic study if it's the overlay district with the, let's say, the Wegmans and the apartments, because that's different than the traffic study they did for the warehouse.
Yeah, I don't think there's this traffic study for the overlay because there's no particular project. And I think the traffic studies come when there's actually a project proposed.
Right. After, I mean, I'm assuming that this. Yeah, I'm assuming that the overlay is going to be approved.
So two
Yeah,
things. I think you got it essentially right, Keller, as far as the process. And second of all, I've never heard your Southern accent before, but I did clearly.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I've been in this house too long. But I think we have at least a 45-day period and maybe 2 and a bunch in between for public comment and public meetings, I think. But it sounds like Wednesday night they're going to talk about whether or not on May 27th, which isn't that far away, to have a special meeting on the overlay. And that would be one of those, well, that's interesting, is I guess it's got to be online, because when I talked to Dan about it months and months ago, he said, oh, it would be a big meeting like we did at the elementary school, you know, in the big auditorium with all these people, which obviously it won't be, but.
You know, we got a mailing, maybe everybody, I guess everybody got a mailing from about the liquor license.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was paid for by Wegmans,
Yeah.
Oh.
which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, because usually Jim McCaffrey pays for it. And
Right.
I haven't seen Jim's yet, but I hear it's coming.
Yeah. So I guess they're gonna be there, right? If they're willing to pay for
They must be planning on it, yeah. Yeah.
So this is to make Lower Makefield a not dry town.
A wet town.
So I'm going to get this wrong too, Catherine, but it would allow, there are a certain number of liquor licenses in the state of Pennsylvania. And it would allow Lower Makefield businesses to compete for up to 9, I think, of those liquor licenses. Certainly not 20, maybe only 8, but I'm going to stick with my memory of 9. And so what that means is if a restaurant wants to build in Lower Makefield or is here already, they would have to go out and buy an already existing liquor license from some other
entity
right. That no longer wanted it.
Right.
huh.
So
It's pretty expensive. It's not a cheap proposition, so you have
to
plan to.
Yeah.
So like a couple $100,000 or.
I don't know, but I think, you know, what I was told, and I think I was talking to Steve Sanacero, and he was saying, you know, there's not going to be this flood of liquor licenses. They're expensive and there's only so many to go around. So it's not like everyone's gonna
It's
open
a
up.
six-figure proposition from somebody I know in Newtown who runs a restaurant. It's a six-figure. I don't know exactly, but it's a six-figure deal. Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, so most of the restaurants that we have in Lower Makefield already probably would not be interested in it. You know, that's just from talking to some of the restaurant owners, because it just doesn't work for their business model. But some might, and it might bring, if it happens, it might bring others. Now, what would it mean? It would mean like I could stop driving to Newtown during COVID to go to their McCaffrey's where I can buy wine freely on the shelves, opposed to my never-ending lack of success for getting curbside pickup because I can never, the website's always too busy.
You know what you do? You call on the phone. That's what my wife does over at the ShopRite one, you mean?
Yeah.
The McCaffrey's. Well, at the ShopRite state store, she just calls them. It never works on the website. No, never does.
Never even occurred to me, Scott. Thanks for that.
Call
But
them.
it just seems so
Someone
odd to me, right?
Out of the borough and picked it up in like 2 hours.
Yeah, but like, so that, I mean, you know, listen, I'm not even what I want is someone who sells pina coladas, banana daiquiris.
Yeah.
And if that's sort of that, it's
I'll tell
really
you
not
something
my
funny.
thing.
For some reason, the other day, I wanted a white Russian, which I haven't had one in like 20 years. And we had no Kahlua. And my husband called the Yardley liquor store over there by Vince's back in Buttonwood Park, and we picked it up like in 2 hours.
I always have Kahlua, Keller, which is kind of funny.
There you go. Just go over there and get it.
I love Kahlua. So put
I'm
that-
waiting for my basil plants to grow so I can have a basil martini.
Ooh.
Oh,
I went over to Gasper and got like 3 different types of basil, Catherine. So
Oh,
maybe in the future I could give you some for different flavors.
Yeah, I had basil too,
Oh.
but it's about this tall. So
yeah. You need a lot of basil leaves.
right. So
All right, are we good?
I think so.
I don't have anything else. If anybody else does, fine. Otherwise, we'll adjourn.
Okay.
Good seeing everybody.
Have a good week, guys.
Yes.
Well, it's
We-
good to you all.
Stay well.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Art.
bye.